Welcome to Miha Reads, where we talk about books all the time, and we're excited about talking about more books all of this time of this video. I'm A.J. Serna.
I'm Kiersten Michelle.
We are a couple of fantasy authors, and we're a couple of book lovers, and they weren't kidding when they say that buying books and reading books are completely two different hobbies. It's true. They are, and I am probably one of the worst offenders out here. I've read probably north of 30 some odd books this year so far. You've read over 140. Clearly, that's not a habit or a hobby that, you know, she has.
And how many books have you bought?
A lot more than I should have. Probably a lot more than 30. And we're going to talk about several that I bought over the past couple of months. Some of these may look familiar because we featured them on shorts that we threw out there, but I'm not sure what the crossover is between people who've seen the shorts and the people who watch the videos. I
don't think you have to worry about that.
Yeah. But anyways, if you see the book 3 times, please don't throw up your arms in anger and be like, we've already seen this, AJ. What are you doing? Well, sorry.
I love you're defending yourself about this theoretical.
I know the internet. I know how it works. Anyways, we got some stuff to talk about. Do you want to start, or shall I?
I can start. I have more books than him this time.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta do like 2 for every 1 that I do. Nah, probably not. But you should at least start and probably finish, so.
I'm gonna talk about my most exciting one first. And that is the Starling House by Alix E. Harrow. The reason that this is the most exciting one is because I started reading it and I love it so far. But also, she signed it.
Oh yeah! We went to a signing nearby for her, and we got to see her speak for a bit or get interviewed.
Alix E. Harrow is the same author as Once and Future Witches and 10,000 Doors of January, which if you've watched this channel even a fraction, you've heard me talk about, because I love her. And this book is already one of my favorite reads of the year, and I'm only a 4th of the way through. So this book is a Southern Gothic that takes place in Kentucky, and it is about a girl who kind of ends up getting drawn to this house that may or may not be haunted. We're not sure what's happening. There might be a hole to hell somewhere on the property.
Oh my.
I don't know. We're gonna find out. I don't know yet. But really moody, really absolutely wonderful. One of the things she talked about is it is a Southern Gothic, so it takes place in the summer, but it still has the spooky autumn vibes and whatever.
Is spooky automatically autumn? Is that how that works?
That's what it is, like it's not. Therefore, you can read spooky and autumn reads during this time. And this is spooky, even though it's not autumn.
Either or.
Okay.
I'm gonna do a rapid fire of a few different books I got from Japan because I admittedly don't have a lot to say about them because I'm constantly in the state of learning Japanese, and I fluctuate between decently basic to somewhat low intermediate, and it ebbs and flows depending on my exposure. But we went to Japan a few weeks ago, a month ago, however long it's been at this point. Got a few books. One of them here is a book that I've seen translations for various different things, but I read it more as push and burn. From what I understand, it is about a stalkery type fan of an idol. ...
And things happen.
And things happen. I don't know what things yet. These are essentially books I'm really going to be probably going through writing as I read them to understand what they're actually saying. This next one is Kidnap, Kiddding by Nisioisin. This is this author has been around for decades at this point, and I believe this is them picking up a series that they ended a while ago, like the first big series that they did, and I guess rebooting it, for lack of a better term. Not remaking or anything, but rebooting it. That'll be interesting to dive into. I'm sure there'll be plenty of impenetrable anime-like stuff in it where it's like, oh, you only understand it if you read these several things and maybe some of his other spin-off novels, blah, 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 blah. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of that, but hopefully it'll be good for learning Japanese. And then I have manga, Gaku-San. It's about working at a bookstore, which, heck yeah, I'm all about it. Yeah, so there you go.
I like also the front cover they're facing, and then the back cover is them facing away.
Yeah,
it's cute.
I kind of wish that it was like the same
size.
like distance, but it's not. Graphic designer lesson. If you're listening and watching.
In English.
In English. What's going on? Anyway, you're up next.
The next one I want to talk about is one I've had an eye on for a while, and I was debating buying it. And then we found out that our local indie bookstore, like the
location.
The location. So we just found out the indie chain that we go to, the location that's local to us, is closing. Yeah, rip. We are a little upset about that. It just opened.
Like a year.
Still.
Yeah.
They closed all the new ones, which is kind of... Anyway, so we went there and bought a bunch of books as our grief counseling. So I finally bought this. So this is Mr. Magic by Kiersten White. Like I said, I've had my eye on this for a while.
Me too, actually. I like the cover a lot.
And so the setup you're gonna love. Okay. Because I don't think you know yet. I'm not a big horror person, but I've been reading more horror this year and starting to enjoy it. So I'm like, I'm gonna give this a try. I'm a little scared. So this is about it sounds like a haunted TV show that never aired. It was shut down. And then it's the people years later kind of come together, and it doesn't sound like they know why, and they're on like a creepy island or something. So it sounds like haunted TV production kids show. Right. So very creepy vibes. I am not sure what to expect because the other Kiersten Whites I've always read have been mostly like YA, and I believe this is adult horror. So we're gonna see how I go.
One book I also have had an eye on for a while is this one, The Art of Prophecy by Wesley Chu. I don't know a whole lot about it. I know it's probably a twist on prophecies and chosen one type stories where it's like, oh, I think it's gonna be this, but it's slightly different. Frankly, I just think the art style is kind of fun. It's very different. I really enjoy it, and I like the way it's printed. It's floppy. How
many books do you buy because they are printed, Luke?
It's not even that they look good, it's just, oh, this feels good. This has a nice flop to it. And the reason I just think about the fact, especially when you have longer stories like this, and this looks like it's a fairly long story, it's just, it seems easy to carry around. You're just walking around, just like, oh, I gotta flip this open. Look at that, I could one-hand it. I can one-hand it easily, I can two-hand it, I can do whatever I want with this, and I'm excited to do it with this book at some point in the near future.
Okay, so my next one is another fairy loot. This is If I Have to Be Haunted by Miranda Sun. We always have to appreciate the fairy loot look. But this book is so interesting. Also fall haunted vibes, obviously. But it is about a girl who can see ghosts, and she's trying to avoid seeing ghosts because apparently seeing ghosts was like not fun. And she runs into her recently dead classmate. And it is about him trying to convince her to resurrect him, I think. Oh. Yes. Interesting. I am very interested.
The title is, if I recall, is weird. It's like, basically, if I have to be haunted, good thing it's a hot guy or something. Is that the implication there? Where did I get that from?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Expecting to find here.
I thought it might be in there. I don't know. Maybe I was wrong. Okay.
But I'm assuming, yes, it's going to end up being a love story between her and the dead guy?
Hey, I've watched Casper.
It's fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Come on. So this was an interesting one. It's usually when I go to a bookstore, I have kind of an idea of, oh, maybe I'll get this, or even if it's something I didn't expect to buy, I've at least seen it once or know something primal about it. I know nothing about this. This is called Silver Under Nightfall, and it's by Rin Chupeco. And it's like a vampire book. And I literally just was like, I looked at the back and I was just like, huh, this is interesting. And then it was also like an opening line where it says, they never tell you it's the girls that are the hardest to kill. And I was just like,
I like that.
Right? It's kind of interesting. So I know nothing about this story other than that opening line. I didn't even read the back. I skimmed it. I saw a vampire a couple times and I'm like, not really for me. But I opened it anyway. And I was like, okay, I can get into this. Also, this book has already been well loved by our cat.
I was like, is that our cat already got a hold of it?
I caught him biting it literally the night after we bought, or the morning after we bought it, and I had to scold him.
This is why we can't own anything nice.
This is why we can't have nice things.
Our reading chair has been destroyed by him. Our book has been destroyed.
Yeah.
So rude. This is The Sun and the Void by Gabriela Romero La Cruz. I had heard of this. I follow her on Instagram. I was very excited about it because it is another kind of Latin American, South American inspired fantasy. I am sick, excuse me.
Oh, we're both sick, so apologies for this. You know, not apologies. We apologize for nothing. We are sick. Deal with it.
So, I believe it's Venezuelan inspired, but it is sapphic romance, fantasy, adult. I don't know much more than that because pretty much the second I heard that, I was like, well, I'm reading that, so I don't really care what else it's about. I do know that the main character, at least one of them, is not actually human. Like, there's different species. I'm really
What kind
excited.
of species?
I think she has horns.
Oh, okay, so not like a horse, or like a dog, or anything. Like different races.
Races.
There you go. That's better.
Like, well, I'm sorry, but it's someone with horns, a different race, or is they a different species?
It's a different race, I think.
I
That's kind of in fantasy.
Anyways,
it's like
I'm really
it's a
excited.
human-esque race.
It is a human-esque race.
Yeah.
The next one is another one that in all honesty, it was one of the ones I bought for the closing because this is a book that I always wanted to read and I just have never picked it up. Admittedly, a part of me, I'm gonna have to be in the right mood for this. So this is In the Time of the Butterflies by Julia Alvarez. This book is about 4 girls, 3 of whom end up dead. They are among the leading opponents of the General Trujillo's dictatorship. And so I believe the implication is they die fighting.
Oh, is this a real story?
It's not fantasy.
So it's political enemies of somebody in power?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's like about the dictatorship of Trujillo and these girls who fight against him, the butterflies, and the 4 girls who die, the one who doesn't. I'm not expecting this to be a happy book, but it's very famous. I want to read it. So we're gonna just wait till I'm in a mood to be sad. The next one is How to Be Eaten by...
It's a how-to book. I'm sorry.
Does anybody know any good divorce lawyers? How to Be Eaten by Maria Adelmann. And this book makes me think of Final Girls Support Group by Greedy Hendricks. So this is a book about a support group of fairy tale survivors. Oh. And it is them coming together. I'm not actually sure what the actual story is. I just know that's the setup and then stuff happens. The cover's awesome.
It's pretty cool.
The title's awesome. And I want to read about fairy tales and dark grittiness. That sounds awesome. I am excited. It's not really a new book for me, but this is the Japanese version of Mexican Gothic. I got this in Japan, obviously. Can I read it? Absolutely not. But I remember when I saw this on her Instagram when she got this cover design, and I was like, oh my god, that's so gorgeous. And then the first bookstore we went to in Japan, it was there, and I was like, I feel like this is faded. So I got it.
Well, we didn't get it at first. We actually went through a bunch of others. So we went to Jimbocho, which is like the book district in Tokyo, and we went to a bunch of different places expecting that we would easily find it. Yeah, we didn't find it at any other bookstore, so we went back the next day and got it.
Because I was looking to see, there's a couple classics that I was like, if I can find the Japanese version of a couple of the classics that I love, maybe I'll grab that. Nada. Nothing that I really loved. So we actively went back to Jimbocho just to get this book. No regrets. I love this cover. And it's just gonna sit on my bookshelf and be unread, and I don't care.
Rare bout of non-fiction. We got The Reign of Marvel Studios, MCU. And this is written by 3 authors, Joanna Robinson, Dave Gonzales, and Gavin Edwards. Pretty self-explanatory. This is about the rise of Marvel Studios. Obviously they rose to power, so to speak, from the late 2000s all the way to present day, but the story extends much further than that, back into previous decades when Marvel Comics and then its various iterations, the toy companies that were affiliated and all of those inner workings leading up to the formation of the studio and all the politics that went into it. It's a chronicle of the entire thing. I know a bunch of people in Hollywood start hearing about these people interviewing others. They're like, don't talk to them, don't talk to them. So it's an unauthorized look.
And what stood out to you about this book?
I used to run a website called Latino Review, and one of the people who worked there directly before I was involved was Dave Gonzales. That's pretty interesting there. Good for you, Dave Gonzales. Also fellow Denverite. I'm
going to talk about The Mountain in the Sea by Ray Nayler. So this book made an impression on me. I really love the cover because of the colors. But I was also, this was right after I had heard about Remarkably Bright Creatures, which is also about an octopus. And it made me think of this book, and I always had seen this book, and I was finally like, you know what? I loved that book. I'm gonna.
Is this also about octopuses?
This is also about octopi. Octopi?
Octopuses, I hear is actually technically correct.
Okay, cool.
I feel like I remember hearing that we've all been misled regarding the word octopi. Do your research.
So this is about a science team who discovers a new species of octopus who are learning how to speak. Like, they have a language, and it's them going in and trying to learn how to talk to the octopus. So I'm thinking like Remarkably Bright Creatures meets Arrival meets, I don't even know.
Shape of Water meets Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man's Chest. Davy Jones.
You're bad at this. So yes, I'm really excited, and I just love the colors of this cover, so I'm very excited for this one. So there was another book I got in Japan actually, although this one was in English. So this is The Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. Tsujimura. I'm not good at Japanese. This is a book I had heard of before, and my library doesn't have it. All three of the libraries I belong to. And then none of the local bookstores I've seen it in, so we happened to be at a bookstore in Japan, and I saw it, and it was in English, and I was like, fated. This is, I kind of feel like it's going to be like magical realism, but it is about, I think, 7 young kids wake up one morning, and their mirror becomes a portal, and that portal takes them to this castle, and it is about the adventures in the castle. I don't know if the adventures are going to be adventures versus like bad stuff. I'm not sure.
I mean, adventures is a catch-all word.
That's fair. For a start, each day they must leave by 5 o'clock or face a terrifying penalty. Okay.
What's the penalty?
I don't know.
Death?
So yes, I'm really excited to read this book. I'm really excited that I ran into this book in Japan. And I'm excited that it was in English so I could actually read it.
You just learn like I plan on doing it, even though I probably won't.
I'm gonna stick to my Spanish book.
Next one here is another Fairy Loot edition. This is Bonesmith by Nick Preto. Yes, I think I got that right. And look at that, first of all. Like that's really shiny. You got a little gold side there. And you got sprayed edges, of course. It's fun. It's always a good time. I don't know a whole lot about what this is, but it's about, I guess, bonesmiths that sever ghosts from earthly remains. I don't know what that means, but there's lots of fun swords. Look at this sort of fantastical, sort of Gothic type vibe here. I don't know, it just stood out to me as a potentially good time. And let's see what the images on the back. There's another dude in black armor, and
notice once again, he's mostly talking about what it looks like.
Yeah, once again, different hobbies. I'll get to this eventually.
Book dragon.
Book dragon, book eater, bookworm. Oh, that's the one, bookworm. It looks fun. Bonesmith. I'll probably read it at some point. Okay.
And then I'm doing this because my husband told me to.
Okay. Just don't even do it if you're gonna do it like that.
Okay. Other book that we got recently, I got the hardcover version of my book. This just came in the mail yesterday, so it's all very exciting. This is The Shadow Weaver's Gambit by, how do you say her name? Kiersten Mitchell.
Kiersten Mitchell.
Kiersten Mitchell. This book is about a girl who is about to come in to power in her city-state and ends up being betrayed and exiled and has to go to the enemy state next door and beg for help, and things happen from there. And I'm very excited for it.
Yeah, it's like a romantic
highly recommend it.
Fantasy, enemies to lovers type story. It's very pretty, got hardcover here. It's got little illustrations in the chapter heading. It's very cool and very exciting. And when does it come out?
November 14th.
November 14th. You can go to mahiabooks.com and check out the book, the pre-order for yourself.
The pre-order is up already, and there's also a Goodreads giveaway leading up until the release if you just want to try to see if you can get it for free. Although it won't be the hardcover, that will be paperback. So if you want the hardcover, which is pretty and shiny, you're gonna have to buy it. But if you pre-order it, it's signed. And I'll even write a little note if you want. Be like, what? You're so awesome. You're the best.
That is it. Well, thank you so much. Hopefully you found something that piqued your interest that you want to read for yourself. And if you did, tell us about it in the comments. And don't forget to give us a like. And we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.